Hello and welcome to YTV. I'm Madison, Alworth.
And I'm Danielle, Trubow. We're continuing to follow the controversy simmering from last summer's sexual misconduct report. Monday, the administration released a long-awaited series of sexual misconduct scenarios and hypothetical disciplinary actions. Reporters Brita Yelm and Caroline Pringle are in the studio with an update.
This week, administrators released scenarios clarifying the disciplinary actions taken in response to cases of sexual misconduct. Student discontent regarding the severity of the punishments spurred administrators to create these scenarios. The 8 hypothetical cases ranged from forced sex, which resulted in expulsion, and ambiguous consent, which resulted in suspension or a written reprimand. They also provided examples of consensual sex that met the appropriate standards. UWC Chair Michael Della Rocca said, "We're thinking these scenarios are really good to educate the community. The UWC has not seen the full range of cases that you see depicted in the scenarios. If we saw cases like that, we would expel." However, some students still feel that the scenarios are insufficient. Most of the scenarios resulted in expulsion and did not provide enough clarification about cases that ended with a reprimand. Back to you.
Thanks, Brita. The full text of these scenarios can be viewed online at smr.yale.edu.
And in other university news, Yale hired far more faculty than usual this fall. On average, Yale gains around 30 professors each year, but this season, 57 new hires accepted their offers.
Provost Pollock calls this a good sign for our reputation, but still says the silver lining has a cloud. The university will slow hiring next year to suit the strained budget, conducting fewer searches and making fewer new hires than it almost ever has.
But Yale is opening up that faculty and its classrooms to the world. Last May, the university announced its partnership with Coursera, an online education platform offering massive open online courses. The online education initiative offers free, non-credit 6 to 15-week courses taught online by Yale professors. Psychology professor Paul Bloom, political science professor Akila Marr, and economics professor Robert Schiller have already signed on to teach some of these courses. While Yale is eager to spread its wealth of knowledge globally, it also sees the expansion of online courses as an opportunity to reevaluate how technology is changing education. Salve hopes to further this initiative and has explored donations from 2 potential donors. The online courses are scheduled to begin in January 2014. With the Democratic mayoral and aldermanic primaries on Tuesday, it's been a busy week in New Haven politics. For an update on the Ward 7 aldermanic race, we go to Jen Kramer on the scene in Ward 7.
Looking now to the aldermanic race here in New Haven's Ward 7, incumbent Doug Housleyden won Tuesday's Democratic primary, defeating Yale junior Ella Wood in his bid for re-election. Housleyden, who won 59% of the primary vote, tells us why he hopes to continue his work on the aldermanic board.
I've thoroughly enjoyed the work I've done serving constituents in Ward 7, between helping a homeless veteran get permanent housing in East Haven and fighting for him to get back into a homeless shelter on Grand Avenue and during the winter months, or helping a victim of an unfortunate crime file a complaint against a police officer and helping that person get justice. These things are the things that make me really love the work that I do, helping people solve problems that are seemingly beyond their control.
Wood has not yet decided whether she will oppose Housleyden as an independent in November's general election. For YTV, this is Jen Kramer with Nicole Nerea.
Thanks, Jen. Housleyden ran as part of the Take Back New Haven group, which counters the supermajority of city lawmakers backed by Yale unions. The general election will take place on November 5th.
And that same day, voters will also decide the mayor of New Haven. With only 2 candidates left, Ward 10 Alderman Justin Elicker and State Senator Tony Harp are the contenders vying for current Mayor John DeStefano Jr.'s spot.
With Harp capturing nearly half of the primary vote and DeStefano being the longest-serving mayor of New Haven, this election is one to follow, and YTV will be there to keep you updated.
For most Yale students, athletics and environmental sustainability may not go hand in hand. However, thanks to a report released in August by the National Resources Defense Council, that may soon change. The report recognized Bulldog Sustainability, a group devoted to promoting environmental responsibility in Yale athletics. As one of the leaders in sustainability among its peers, we take you to Georgiana Wagman for more. Georgiana?
Thanks. The report, authored by 2010 Yale grad Alice Henley, runs over 100 pages and features Bulldog Sustainability as one of the 10 most sustainable organizations in college athletics. For Yale's program, which was started in 2008 and now consists of 12 members, the national recognition validates 5 years of hard work.
It brought together all the work we've done over the years. The great part about this report is it really congratulated everyone who's been a part of the group since its beginnings.
Bulldog Sustainability has ensured that almost 100% of athletic facilities now feature recycling infrastructure, drinking fountains, and bike racks. It has also created the nation's first Green Athletics Team certification, which encourages Yale's varsity teams to make environmentally conscious decisions. While the program's members are proud of these changes, they see a shift toward a greener culture as their greatest accomplishment.
I think educating our staff, educating the coaches, educating other athletes who maybe are not so focused on this, that's what we've achieved, or what's most important to me, is that we're beginning to change a culture.
But what makes Yale's program unique from the other schools in the report is its status as a largely student-run organization.
Here at Yale, it's truly driven by the student athletes, and I think that gives us a really good insight into how to have an impact.
If they can control the direction, then I think you're going to get more accomplished.
What represents both the group's greatest challenge and aspiration is making students at Yale and beyond see the association between athletics and sustainability as second nature.
It's been just incorporating the idea of sustainability into the life of a student athlete.
Bulldog Sustainability is not content to rest on its laurels. Despite the recent recognition, it still has a long list of future projects that it is eager to tackle. The group still hopes to set the standard for sustainability at Yale and raise the bar for sustainability at universities nationwide. For YTV, this has been Georgiana Wagman and Kevin Kacharski. Back to you.
With the amount of work still ahead, the group is always looking for more Bulldogs, whether they're varsity athletes or not. If you're interested in joining, visit yalebulldogs.com/sustainability for more information.
On Tuesday, U.S. News & World Report released their infamous college rankings. The report for 2014 had Yale coming in at number 3, maintaining its spot from last year behind Princeton and Harvard. The comprehensive report compares over 1,000 universities on factors such as graduation rate, selectiveness, and competitiveness of the incoming classes. To U.S. News, we say thank you. To the Yale students watching, we say step up your game. And the numbers roll on. Another volleyball season is starting up, and Zena Keita and Kate Walker give us more Yale stats on the queens of the Ivy League and how they plan to defend their throne.
Let's talk about these numbers. In the last 10 years, 20 first-team All-Ivy mentions, 5 Ivy League championships, 4 Ivy League Rookie of the Years, 3 Ivy League Player of the Years, and only one team, Yale Volleyball. After coming off of an undefeated Ivy League season in 2012, the Bulldogs are revving up for hopefully another winning year. With the Ivy League title in tow, the Bulldogs are back in action, adding 4 talented freshmen to the mix. Coach Appelman describes what she looks for when adding players to her program.
Athleticism, quickness, speed, someone who works really hard, is involved in every play.
And those traits haven't disappointed. Yale Volleyball took the court for the first time this year during their Yale Invitational this past weekend, coming out 2-1 with wins over Colgate and Seton Hall. Kendall Poland, senior setter, played phenomenally, having 94 assists, 37 digs, 20 kills, and 8 service aces for her team. Poland has been a floor leader in the program for 3 years now, making her role as captain fitting for her senior year.
I want volleyball at Yale to remain like a powerful team. I want everyone to have fun, and I want us to just stay loving the sport like we do now.
But with all these wins and titles, the Bulldogs have yet to make it past the first or second round of NCAAs. Stacking their preseason schedule with Missouri, Penn State, and Stanford are a great way to prepare, but the Bulldogs need one more thing:
I think it's a big confidence factor. I think we just have to believe in ourselves that we can do it, that we are the better team. I mean, obviously we have to get there first, and that'll be huge if we can just get to the tournament as well, but I think it's a big confidence thing.
And Yale fans definitely have the confidence that these athletes can do it. Standing courtside, I'm Zena Keita.
The team will be in action against Stanford, Army, and the Air Force at the Pentagon this weekend. We wish them the best of luck.
Across campus, Yale's a cappella community also had something to cheer about. Wednesday evening, Yale's 13 singing groups rejoiced through song as they welcomed their new champs, the Taps of 2013. This year's 2-week rush period was the shortest in recent memory. Cut in half from 4 weeks, singers applauded the rush process, and as per tradition, they gathered at and sprinted across High Street Gate of Old Campus to tap their pitch-perfect class. And now, good news for bikers. Reporters Alero Egby and Annie Bui have the latest on the colorful bike racks springing up in New Haven, thanks to a creative Yale senior.
In the mood for the signature Lithuanian coffee cake at Claire's Cornucopia, bike on over and park your bike to the broccoli, carrots, or squash in front of the restaurant. That's right, Claire's is home to the first of a new series of bike racks in the city of New Haven.
We got the idea of building a unique bike rack and kind of working with local stores and local artists to do something very community-driven and that would double as public art.
With cyclist volumes increasing roughly 33% in the past 3 years, it's clear that bicycling has become a huge part of New Haven life. Knowing this, Ben and other members of the Yale chapter of Design for America sought outside funding and mentoring to give the city's bicycle infrastructure a makeover. They found this mentorship with Jim Travers, who brought his professional expertise to the project after 2 years directing the New Haven Department of Transportation. Most of the funding came from somewhere more unexpected, the owner of Yale's beloved Claire's Cornucopia.
I've been wanting a bike rack for a long time, many years, but I wanted something that was more creative than the ordinary standard bike racks. Green from Yale sent me an email and asked if I was interested in having a custom-made bike rack. And the answer was a resounding yes.
With Claire's $600 donation, Green and Travers were able to work together to bring the bikes on scene. Travers recalls Ben doing a large portion of the legwork, calling to meet for coffee and go over project updates. The result is, as Claire puts it,
it's a functional piece of art.
$12,000 from the New Haven Mayor's Community Art Grant and increased community business interest. Look out for similar creations at places like English Garden, Catalina's, and See Click Fix.
Moving away from vegetables, we're going to diversify our portfolio a bit in terms of what we can do.
Yale Ben Green, civil servant Jim Travers, and business owner Claire have transformed bike culture with these colorful new vegetable bike racks now spreading across New Haven. Back to you in the studio.
The next phase of the project is in the design process. Stay on the lookout for a new generation of bike racks featuring New Haven history.
As always, we leave you with our Everybody Has a Story segment. This week, Cody Pomeranz sat down with Yale junior Ryan Chan to discuss the debut of his first mini-feature film. Acceptance tells the true story of an underprivileged student at a competitive international school in Singapore, who lies about being accepted into Harvard to gain entrance into the opulent world of his peers. Here are a few highlights from the interview.
Economics for Columbia, Molly went for Harvard, and all that, that sentimentalist service stuff for UPenn. Pass my jacket. So go into that CV of yours and start to categorize based on our research. Ask yourself, what is it that I have to brag about?
I have my cooking stuff.
Your cooking? You gotta be kidding me. What, you want to get rejected right away?
Cooking is what I love.
They don't care about what you like. The only thing you should be worried about is whether they like you.
But I'm top 1% in our class.
1% of a billion is still 10 million kids. And the Ivies between the 8 of them are for 24,000 spots.
Okay, what exactly do I have to do?
What 99% of applicants don't do.
Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
So this is a really spectacular feat that you've pulled off here. For most of this, you were a full-time Yale student.
Yeah,
is that right?
That's 100% true. I mean, it started my freshman year when me and my co-writer, Vishnu Hari, who's currently attending the University of Toronto, we decided to write this screenplay and, turn it into a film. And it was basically about 4 hours of work a day just through Skype.
Wow. And this was all filmed in Singapore, right?
Yeah, that's where both of us grew up.
Well, let's get to the actual meat of the film. The main character in the film is a guy named Rohan Patel, who's a senior in high school. He's applying to college, and he's worked his entire life to get into an Ivy League, and he doesn't.
Yep.
What made you decide that this was a story that you wanted to put on film?
So, I mean, first of all, it's important to point out that it is a true story. You know, it happened among, you know, my group of friends in high school, and I guess the actual event was pretty traumatic for the person who lied, and we realized that it kind of reflected this achievement culture, particularly coming from Asia, where a lot of kids they have this like really deep obsession about getting, you know, into Ivy League schools, wearing the best brands. And so we felt that, you know, it hadn't been addressed, so that's one of the reasons why we wanted to make the film.
Well, shifting into that, the title has a nice duality to it, you know, both with acceptance into top schools and acceptance by your peers. How much of this pressure that we see in the film is part of the college process, or, you know, to put the blame on international schools and the culture there?
I don't know if you can necessarily blame international schools, but I do think that, you know, a lot of kids who do attend international schools, their parents are also overachievers. And when you put them all in one place, you kind of create a very competitive environment where you're judged by, you know, how successful you are. You know, I think in a typical American high school, you would have the jocks as the cool kids. You know, in a lot of international schools, it's usually the smart ones who have a lot of money. I mean, that's a very frank way to put it.
It's interesting, you don't just have a critique of college process and maybe some critique of international schools in here, but you also look at the way our generation communicates. How have you seen social media affect this culture? Because I know Rohan posts Harvard class of 2014 on Facebook, and that's how this whole lie starts.
Right. It's a great question, because that is probably one of the things that makes this generation, you know, who's applying to college so much more intense, because your failures and your successes are public. I mean, saying nothing on college acceptance day, people kind of infer, oh, well, you know, he kind of got rejected from everywhere. And I distinctly remember, you know, being a student, like at least when I got into Yale, within maybe 2 to 3 minutes of me just telling one person, the whole school knew, and that's because of social media.
Now, you have a great tagline for this movie in the trailer. It's the best liars always tell the truth.
Right.
What do you mean by that?
So there are two taglines. One of them is the best liars only tell the truth, and the second one is the best liars never lie. And the main kind of thinking behind that was, one, it was actually directly inspired by something that, you know, one of us said to the guy who actually lied about getting to Harvard back in high school. But the meaning behind it in the context of the film is that if you are truly a fantastic liar, no one will, one, suspect you of lying, and the second element to it is that sometimes if you've never really lied before, or if you're not the person who seems like they would lie, you have the greatest potential to fool everybody.
Now, if Yale students want to see this movie, when and where can they go watch it?
So basically, next semester we're going to organize a Yale-wide screening on campus. The location, of course, we haven't decided yet, but one of the conditions is first, we have to have our world premiere at the film festivals, and once that happens, then we can open up to the whole Yale community.
Well, so what are the next steps here? With film festivals, are there specific ones that you're targeting that you think this will do well at?
Yeah, best way I can put it, it's just like applying to college. You got your safeties, your matches, and your reach. I think the only difference is that this is my first time ever applying for film festivals, so I don't really know where our film stands. We're kind of just sending it out to a bunch of different places along the spectrum.
What about the next steps for you? Are you already starting working on future projects?
Yep, of course, yeah. This year I'm doing my senior thesis film. It's called The Magic of 2010. We won't talk about it right now, but we always got something lined up. It's my lifeblood.
Well, the film is called Acceptance. Ryan Chan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us. If you want to find out more about Acceptance, you can go and like the Facebook page online. For YTV, I'm Cody Pomerantz, and this has been another segment of Everybody Has a Story. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Cody. To watch the full unedited interview, go to YaleDailyNews.com/YTV under the features page.
And thank you for being with us tonight. Join us next Sunday at 5 here in the YTV studio.
Because it's your Yale, your week, and your news.